Knicks, and only because it's matchup based and it's the road that they have to travel. It's gonna be a tough road. The Knicks got to get through Atlanta, which we wanted Toronto to begin with, but I'm okay with it. Whoever is in front, we just gotta go with that. So I'm gonna go with the Knicks beating the Atlanta Hawks, and then I'm gonna go with the Knicks beating. Honestly, I have a little upset alert. I think we might see an upset in the first round with the Boston Celtics and 76ers, but I have them winning that matchup, whoever it is. I know. We're going to go back to that.
Wait. Why do you see that?
We're going to go
Wait.
back to that.
No. I want to hear that now. Why do you think the Sixers will upset the Boston Celtics?
Honestly speaking, I just feel like this is not the same Boston team. This is the Boston team that got beat by the Miami Heat. They were down 3-0. They tried to come back and then lost. That's all the people that made them great are gone. Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Al Horford. Those are like locker room guys and guys who would win games and help win games. Like when Kristaps Porzingis was out there in the finals, he totally changed it where they had no chance. Whoever was on the floor had no chance when he was at the peak of his powers. Then he had that minutes restriction, and you know how that went. So I think that this Boston team is the same Boston team, and you're looking at Paul George as a chip on the shoulder. Paul George is going to be, I think, equal to a mitigated Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is not back at the peak of his powers yet. And so that right there, Maxey, who's guarding Maxey, and I just think that Jaylen Brown's going to be great, but you have a plethora of wings to throw at Jaylen Brown. You have Kelly Oubre, you have also Paul George himself, who's an elite defender, and then you have people like Quentin Grimes, who I think is going to give people like Peyton Pritchard a hard time because Quentin Grimes is not just a scorer; he's also a defender. So it's a matchup thing. And I've even mentioned Joel Embiid because I know that he will likely maybe get one game in, maybe 2 games, depending on the situation. But the main thing is Andre Drummond is no slouch. He's going to be rebounding the heck out of the ball. He now is a stretch big, which is shocking, shooting it with confidence. So I just feel like matchup-wise, and they, 76ers have nothing to lose. When you're a team that has nothing to lose and you have an excuse already backed up, already waiting, you didn't have Joel Embiid, and you have a young player like a VJ Edgecombe who can get his respect right out the bat. I just feel like they have nothing to lose. They're dangerous, and Maxey is going to be a problem. I don't think they have an answer for him.
What you're saying about Drew and Porzingis is absolutely true. I would say Keita has been better, and they do have Vucevic. And to your point, with Jaylen Brown playing the way he did, it makes his season even more impressive without those two guys. But I do think those two bigs could pick up for some of what they lost with those guys.
I agree. And that's why I just feel like Andre Drummond is a good big in this series. He's going to grab the rebounds. That's just going to change the game. But now he's adding offense, and I think that's difference maker right there. And their wings, they're tough, man. I just feel like they have nothing to lose, and they're gonna bring it to them.
Yeah, I want to take it back to the Knicks. Predict what would happen if the Knicks do lose the series to the Hawks.
I think heads are going to roll, as Stephen A. was saying, but I don't think they will. I think it's going to be a tough series. It is an upset alert. They will probably win in 6, but I do think the coach will be gone. I do think that they will make the right trades to bring in. The team will be centered around Giannis and Jalen Brunson, and then they'll build from there. Their championship window will still be open, but it will be 3 to 4 years, as I still think it will be regardless. But it will be curious to see who the next coach would be, like who was next in line. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody the Knicks are trying to get was going to be a coach they were going to trade for. So,
I wanted to bounce this off you because everybody's talking Giannis, but I think the fit really is LeBron James. When you look at Brunson, he's not really a facilitator. And when we've seen some of the better facilitators, some of the better point guards that don't really play like point guards, they had a guy at another position filling in that role. We see Draymond with Steph. We see Jamal Murray with Jokic. I feel like LeBron could be that for Brunson. I think he's the perfect fit for the New York Knicks team.
I just don't like that as a Knicks narrative, only because we always get these stars in their last leg. And, he's about to retire. He's about to go on a farewell tour.
He's playing great,
I feel like
he's playing great.
He is. But I just felt like he had the chance to, in the same way the Knicks fans felt and the Knicks brass and James Dolan felt that, KD had a chance. He chose the Nets. He, was a follower of Kyrie, and Kyrie kind of led that ship, and he's from the New Jersey area. They went to the Nets, fine, great. And then so now when he was like, "Yeah, I'm open to come to the Knicks," we were like, "Nah, go ahead, go with that." So I feel like it's the same thing for LeBron. LeBron had a chance. He wasn't even taking interviews. That was just like total disrespect to us as an organization. So I wouldn't be checking for LeBron, especially because that championship window would now be decreased probably to like 1 or 2 years, and not even that. I don't even think we'd have a chance to win.
It's crazy how many stars, like name-wise, have played for the Knicks. When you think of like T-Mac and
fun,
Penny and all those guys, there's so many of them.
Rasheed Wallace. Let's keep on going. Kenyon Martin.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
Kidd. It was fun.
Yeah. Usually when you're talking about X factors with a team, you're looking at a role player. But what I feel is interesting about this New York Knicks team, the X factor is actually one of their stars, and I'm talking about Karl Anthony Towns. Is that an X factor for you in this series versus the Hawks, or
Absolutely.
do you see? Go ahead.
It's really his mentality. It's which cat's going to show up. Is he going to be in his feelings and pouting and trying to show up the system, or show up the coach, or trying to show up Jalen Brunson, or whoever it is, just out of not getting the ball? But I feel like I love that he knows how to play make. And I was encouraged by the 2 passes that Jalen Brunson did at pick and roll against the Hawks, which everybody was waiting for 2 seasons, which made no sense. Like, you guys, all this training, all this AAU, all this best coaches in college and all this other stuff, and you guys don't know how to do a pick and roll. So this finally did a pick and roll against the Hawks, and it just worked to perfection. So I'm like, is this like training camp number 2? And hopefully this time off, they've been working on that, because, his numbers look good, but it just doesn't look like it's solid. Like, it doesn't look convincing when you do see it. And it did look believable last time they played the Hawks. So I think it's really going to be their connection. That's the X factor in Karl Anthony Towns' mentality. But he has to be number 2. He has to come with that force, put the pressure on them, put them in foul trouble. Put them in the penalty. I don't think there's a specific player we're trying to get in foul trouble, but just put them in the penalty, and just apply pressure all day, every day. So I think, you could say X factor, and that makes sense. And it's kind of like, as you said, he's a number 2 player. X factor is usually like a 3rd player, a 4th player, but you just never know what you're going to get with them. So I agree with your assessment of X factor.
Has it been weird for you to see this team with Mike Brown, supposedly a better offensive coach than Tibbs, not able to get that 2-man game going as good as it should have been? We're seeing it lately, but that was like the last 2 or 3 games, What are your thoughts on that?
I think so. I just think they were, number 1, focusing on the motion and everybody fitting into that. Yeah. And then, just buying into the system.
One thing, what's weird is Brunson's usage was up this year.
Of course. All the dribbles. Hey, trust me, on our show, I was literally telling people in my rants, like, I'm counting his dribbles. Like, I don't need to see you dribbling to piss out a ball, like 5 to 7 dribbles before passing it. And then he just throws grenades at people and expecting them, hey, do something with it. And it's not fair. I just feel like, if you're going to play the system, fine. But I do like, in the clutch situation, I trust that if that's what he needs to do to get open for his clutch basket, it's fine, because that's how he plays. He plays in a rhythm where he has to get those dribbles to get the defender off balance because of his size, and then he does the head fakes and things like that. But in terms of Brown, the system, I just felt like the last layer of that system is to get this 1-2 combo going. I think another layer of the system was having Cat become a great passer, which he already was, but I feel like you see a lot of his instincts are great. And he's getting the right person to the ball at the right time.
And how would you grade the regular season before we go more into the postseason? Because, you got to see it. And, to keep it on Cat a little bit, it felt like whenever he had time to talk to the media, he was still trying to figure out his role with 70 games left. What did you make of this regular season in general?
Well, I didn't like the fact that Cat threw the team under the bus. Keep that in house. We don't need to know the first press conference. You're throwing them under the bus.
But it's almost you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. They want you to be candid, but then then when he's candid,
there was another way to do it. Way to do it. We're all figuring it out. You need to say, I'm still figuring. Just be the professional that you are and get it done on the floor. You can have those conversations in house. But I'll say I'll give them a strong B+. only because the plus I added because they were still losing games they should have won and winning games. At least the reason why I get the plus is, number one, they got a better record from last year. But secondly, they also beat the teams they were supposed to beat. But the one thing that was glaring is that they were still losing to above 500 teams, but it wasn't as bad as last year. Like last year, they would lose to, except for Denver, but they would lose to like all the good teams. And that obviously OKC being one of them, but they would just lose to every good team that we wanted to win against. They were just losing to. So at least this time around, they were beating the teams they should beat, but it was a challenge. It was buzzer beaters. It was like coming back down from, against that Jazz game. Games like that should have never happened. But the proof is in the pudding. The record is better and is better than Tibbs' record. So,
we talked about Cat as the main X factor. Any other X factors you see? I think Jordan Clarkson's another one. I'd like to see him, come off hot from the bench. And then, how do you guard a budding superstar like Jalen Johnson? But what are you seeing on the X factor side of things outside of Cat?
I mean, hey, man, X factors. My biggest thing was that I wanted to do this Giannis trade or something, a better trade. If it wasn't Giannis, get some better players. I know they were talking about Najee Marshall. They were talking about Sadiq Bey and things of that nature. But what I felt about the Knicks overall is the three guys that are inconsistent. The three guys that are inconsistent for me is Mikal Bridges, number one. OG Anunoby, because people let him get away with stuff because he's quiet and he plays defense for the most part. So we give him a pass on that. And Cat, those three. And it's like you can never have two or all three of them show up at the same time. But if they do, we usually blow teams out. But that's not dependable because if you look in Mikal Bridges' defense, he is the fourth option. You know what I mean? So you have Josh Hart's kind of like the glue guy. Hopefully he has a good game. So honestly, my X factor is Josh Hart, but we need those guys to be consistent. And Josh Hart's the X factor because when he shoots the ball with confidence and starts actually hitting threes, he's the motor to our offense, I believe, in terms of pushing the ball.
When I look at who's the best all-around player in this series, I would say it's Jalen Johnson. But the reason why I would have the Knicks winning the series is because Jalen Brunson is the best closer and CJ McCollum closes games for the Hawks. So when it comes down to it, I think the Knicks will definitely have the edge when the game is close, late game situations in that kind of way,
Absolutely. It's just that the Hawks have so many weapons and so many mismatches for us. So we're just gonna have to rely on Brunson to be great, but he's gonna have his work cut out for him with Dyson Daniels guarding him on every possession or someone else switching and being just as good defensively. And then on his defensive end, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be most improved, trying to make a name for himself, showing that the regular season was a fluke. And he's shown it in the last year when he was with the Timberwolves that he could be that guy as well. So now, he's just going to be putting pressure. You got to guard him. And if it's not him, it's going to be CJ. And if it's not him, it's going to be Dyson Daniels. So, and the big that I'm worried about, what's the guy's name? Is Okongwu. He's shooting threes. He plays tough. And Cat has problems with bigs that like contact and bigs that try to enforce contact. Even though, his numbers look great, Okongwu is like a Knick killer too. He hits threes, he stretches the floor. He makes other guys better. Yeah.
And you got Kuminga coming off the bench. I mean, there was so much buzz about Kuminga with the Warriors, and now he's fitting into such a nice role with this Hawks team.
That's a great point, Drew, because that's another X factor is which bench is going to win out. Because in the beginning of the season, those are my two things, Brunson's dribbles, how many dribbles and playing in the system. And then the other thing was the bench scoring. If they don't get above 20 points a game, I was having a problem with that. And so that really, if you break it down, we're not expecting Mitch to get points. We're expecting Mitch to get offensive rebounds and more possessions, which lead to open threes and things like that. But the person we're going to be looking at is Deuce. And sometimes Deuce shows up, sometimes Deuce doesn't. And it's kind of annoying sometimes being at the game, watching the game. It's like Deuce and it's Brick. He's actually had a really good shooting season this year. But last year, I was just sometimes we just love saying Deuce and then it's a Brick. And so I'm just hoping that, he can be as good as he was because he's back in rhythm. After he came back, he wasn't as good, but now he's back in rhythm. And then Landry Shamet, I'm just, he plays hard. I think it's his facial expression that really people think he's really intense because he has an intense face. but I hope that translates. Like it was translating this year in terms of just hitting threes and stuff. But I'm worried about our bench as a whole. I don't, is Jordan Clarkson going to be thrown in with regular minutes or just like whenever he feels that we're struggling, whenever Mike Brown feels we're struggling. So I don't know. What do you feel about our bench?
You mentioned Landry Shamet. I think Clarkson's the X factor. That's what I think about the bench. Like I think if he gets buckets, it's a good sign because I talked about this earlier in the season that he's the Knicks' only hooper. Like the Knicks have a lot of great basketball players. Jalen Brunson, great basketball player. Like Mikal Bridges, OG, Cat, great basketball players. But Jordan Clarkson's a guy that could play with creativity like he's just in the park. And you need one guy like that. And I think that's what Jordan Clarkson brings. But with Shamet, how do you feel about him defensively? Because I feel like he's supposed to be 3-and-D, but does he hold up defensively? Like you watch his team real closely.
He plays defense with his face, man. Like he's face first.
Like I'm not confident if like Landry Shamet is guarding Jalen Johnson. Like I don't know.
No,
I don't know if he could turn off like a good player. And that's what you need in the playoffs.
I agree. I kind of like Mike Brown's assessment of him. He plays with great pace, great cadence, and that's what you need in the system of Mike Brown. It's just like the ball's always popping, so it's moving. He also showed that he's going to be aggressive, taking the ball to the hole. So you're not just going to think he's just going to keep us shooting threes. Like he's constantly moving, and then I like that he's at least aggressive on defense. And I think it's kind of translated this year, honestly speaking. I don't think last year the injuries his cadence in terms of injuries were just off. Like whenever he had a good streak, he had a shoulder injury, and then something would come up, and then Tibbs wasn't playing him. So he had all of that, but he's in rhythm now, and I think he knows his role, and I think he's accepted it. And people kind of depend on him and trust him. That's the other thing, is the trust factor. So he's kind of like our Dante DiVincenzo light. You know what I mean?
Dante's better. Dante,
of course.
Yeah, Dante was even more skillful, and he hustled even more. He was better in both regards than Landry. Yeah, he's tough. That guy's tough.
Yeah, but I actually feel confident with him. Like I like that Mike Brown was willing to sit Mikal Bridges and have Shamet rock out, and also have JC rock out. So those guys helped us big time whenever Mikal didn't show up to play. So that's what I'm saying. Like the bench has to make up for the lack, but they don't have to make up for the lack if Mikal Bridges brings it. I at least need 16 points a game and some defensive stops. Like you can't be called wing stop and then getting cooked on the other end. I don't need to see Jalen Johnson not struggling to score 25 points a game. Like make it hard for them. Like the same way they're making it hard for Jalen Brunson, y'all's job is to make it hard for all the other wings. And that goes for Jonathan Kuminga as well.
You think Knicks fans are sleeping on Jalen Johnson a little bit? I mean, he was Eastern Conference Player of the Month. And
Knicks fans are one of
his favorite player growing up was LeBron, and he is that point forward that could do everything. You think Knicks fans are sleeping on him just a little bit?
No, I don't think so. I think Knicks fans have appropriate fear. We're some of the smartest fans. We know ball players when we see them. So I feel like we have a respect for good players.
But they're so emotional, bro. Not to cut you off. Like they know the game. Right. So like a loss is like the worst. The loss is like the worst thing in the world, and they win the championship after. They're gonna win the championship after every win.
I'm one of the more balanced Knicks fans. Like I try to like really see it and try not to leave with the emotion of it. But I do feel like we respect the Hawks. Like we know that's why we wanted the Toronto Raptors so badly. You know what I mean? But ultimately, as a New Yorker, we don't duck no smoke. We have to beat who's in front of us. And honestly, we think that we're capable of winning it all. In a 7-game series, it's like I feel like the Knicks are the perfect playoff team. Like in a one-off scenario in the regular season, like we could come in and get punched in the mouth and lose easily. But I feel like we have the right like build of a team to beat any team out there. The hardest team for us to beat, I think, in a playoff series, not regular season, because I feel like Detroit, they was like the little brother that just wanted to beat us so badly, and we really didn't care, type of thing. But the team that can really beat us is the OKC Thunder. That's the team I don't want to see, but I feel like even with that, we might rise to the occasion because it's just one series and you got to beat these guys.
You're not fearful of the Spurs when Wemby's not on a minutes restriction?
I agree with the minutes restriction part. but I
Because that
feel like
game
we
that
match
game
up
looked
well with them.
that game looked different in the cup when he was actually playing.
Well, the cup, but then they came to eighth and whatever we call it, 33rd.
But the
whatever.
cup was the closest thing
Yeah,
to a playoff, for sure.
I agree. But
Yeah,
then we handled them again at
yeah.
home, and it wasn't even hard. Honestly, Wemby might be great, but the others have to be great. And I feel like our wings mitigate.
I think shooting is a concern
wings.
for them, for the Spurs. Like
Exactly.
Watch the way teams guard them. There's just not a lot of gravity,
Yeah, and what I hope for Brown is that, like, let's say we play the Pistons. I hope that he plays Sohan. Like, it might be overly aggressive to start him, but give him some significant minutes guarding Cade Cunningham. And I feel like if we play the Spurs, let Diawara rock out, because his size and the way he shoots the rock, he's probably one of our best shooters. And
a Knicks fan told me he was the next
fearful.
KD.
No, that's too much. That's what I'm saying. So that's where you had the Knicks fans that don't get out much, and that's all they watch. They don't got league pass. They only watch the Knicks, and that's all they've ever watched. So they don't know any other players, and they next. How can be the next? That's hilarious. But no, right. he's a good shooter. He is a
good shooter. All right. Your Knicks Hawks prediction. I'll say Knicks in 6. I do think the Hawks have the best player, but the Knicks have the best closer, and the Knicks also have the second and third and fourth best player. So I'm going to go with the Knicks in 6.
Same. Likewise. That's what I said too, Knicks in 6. Now, I just feel like we will learn a lot how the Knicks come out in game 1. I'm not saying they can't lose game 1, but if it's like some nonsense the last 2 minutes, like we're up, we're supposed to win, and we lose, like what happened with the Pacers, or if we get blown out, that's going to say a lot about the mentality of this current Knicks squad. But yeah, I feel like I got the Knicks in 6, but we can't sleep on them. We got to come ready to play every single game. Like,
you definitely can't
sleep.
If
you think it better, sweep them.
Yeah, 100%. You definitely can't sleep because their record doesn't really tell the whole story because they were so abysmal in the beginning. And this team, since then, is their real team, with a new roster, new look, CJ and then Kuminga coming off the bench. So it's the record doesn't say the whole story when it comes to this Hawks team.
Absolutely. It's all about matchups, as you know.
Yeah.
Being a pro, playing overseas, as I know.
Yeah.
My man got game. I see you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Let's shift to the West real quick. You got to talk about the Lakers. You have X-rated, so you have to talk about the Lakers. You just have to. But anyway.
Of course.
So do the Lakers have any chance versus Kevin Durant and the Rockets?
They shouldn't, and I hope they don't, because I'm annoyed at the medical staff. I know they're doing their job, but they're kind of splitting hairs. They're splitting hairs. Oh, you can play game 3. Well, let them play game 2, because you know what? In order to win, you got to win 4 games. So you can't just be giving 2 games away to a really good Rockets team that is a matchup problem for you guys. So I just feel like if they're going to play that game of, we're going to wait and see if we win one of the 2 games and then play in game 3 and all this other nonsense. It's hard to travel with the injury. So if that's the case, let's say he's going to play all the home games. Let him stay home and rehab. Let him play all the home games. Let him sleep in Crypto.com arena. Let him work out there and just show up, go downstairs. That's part of his workout and his rehab. But honestly speaking, I think I want the Rockets to win, and I also think they could potentially sweep them, depending on if Luka plays.
Oh, now, well, first of all, it's Michael Jordan and LeBron, so the Michael Jordan people will love if LeBron gets swept again, and they don't care that he's older than 40.
Well, I just feel like KD's gonna do what KD does, and LeBron's gonna do what LeBron does. So the X factor here will be Alperen Şengün because who's stopping him, and it's not gonna be your boy DeAndre Ayton. So I just feel like he's gonna apply pressure, and pretty much you gotta prevent Şengün from being great in the series, which I think he is. He's gonna go back to the overseas Şengün when he plays in summertime. That's what I think is going to happen. And he does have that motor and that mentality. So I feel like they should win. And then I just think that Ime Udoka is going to make it hard on LeBron. Don't forget that's the same man that called him a bitch and was talking all that nonsense to him. You remember that, right? So I think, and I've seen, Ime Udoka like shut players down. So he shut down KD when he was with Brooklyn, and so they had the same defenders. Like Fred VanVleet not being there doesn't prevent any kind of defensive scheme that he would have on a player like LeBron. So you're going to see a primary defender on LeBron, and then they're going to help out kind of like how OKC does, and they're probably going to blast him these first couple games. So I got Houston Rockets in 4. If Luka comes back and AR comes back, they're a totally different team. I have the Lakers favored in that scenario. But I just think, if they're playing that game, minutes restriction, all this other nonsense, nah.
It is crazy that Ime said that to LeBron. Do you feel LeBron is feared?
He's not feared. No, I don't fear him. I didn't fear him. I just felt like I respect him, and I feel like you should respect people just in general, like a baseline respect. I don't fear him. I think there's very few players that I would say bring out fear in people. I think Michael Jordan was one of them. Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant in his peak of his powers. But it's very hard to say.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean you're not great. Like, I don't think Magic Johnson was feared.
No, he wasn't. The smile, he just felt like, he's a nice guy.
Larry Bird might have been feared, though, that guy.
Larry Bird might have been feared because he talks trash and he backs it up. Yeah, exactly. Luka, to some degree, not necessarily feared.
I've seen him take teams' hearts. Like, he's taking
exactly. It's been fun watching. I'm a big fan of Luka.
Yeah, that's so fun to watch when he does that.
Yeah, the Suns, and also in the bubble against the Clippers, even though they didn't get it done, the games that they did win, he got the respect of a lot of players, including the Morris.
Yeah.
Morris,
I don't know if in combo news, Tim Duncan fans are really mad at me because of some of my recent takes. So I want to ask you, Dr. X, who's better, Tim Duncan or Nikola Jokic?
Well, I have to go to the filter of defense whenever I discuss Nikola Jokic to put things in perspective because when I think of the best centers and best power forwards or people in that body type, I'm looking at Hakeem Olajuwon, great defender, shot blocker. Tim Duncan, same thing. Nikola Jokic, as my cousin likes to say on our X-Rated Sports show, is that beyond the surface, is that Nikola Jokic is the best skilled center of all time. Skilled, because when you bring in the defensive filter, he doesn't measure up. But he's not that bad that it's like, it's not like a open turnstile with like when you have Luka guarding people. So he rebounds the ball at a high level. I mean, he's the number one rebounder. Rebounding is a big part of defense. He's not known for shot blocking, but there's very few players that get over 2 blocks a game. So you can't default him for that. And a lot of times he does get like 2 or 3 blocks. So just being tall, you know what I mean? So to answer your question, Jokic or Duncan, I'm gonna have to go Duncan only because of the rings and the defense. And,
no, that is interesting. I totally disagree with you, but I would say there is a difference between more skilled and better player. Like, Cat is more skilled than Patrick Ewing, but Patrick Ewing is the better basketball player. Yeah.
So what was your argument for Jokic, given the defensive filter? But I agree that he's more skilled than Duncan. Yes.
I mean, Jokic is like 30, 10, and 10 this season. Duncan was 19 and 3. I think Jokic is the greatest passer to ever live. I think he has the greatest touch to ever live. I think his championship was more defining than any of Duncan's championship. He did it at that time without an all-star. Jamal Murray wasn't an all-star yet. Duncan had a ridiculous organization and played with a bunch of Hall of Famers. And they're totally different players. I think in the modern NBA, things might look different for Tim Duncan. He'd have to guard in space. He'd have to be able to hit the 3. I think every generation gets better, and I think Jokic is the best big of this generation.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that, and you're right. They're kind of different positions. I think.
I mean, Jokic is a point center. Jokic is a point center.
Point center, exactly. So it's kind of like apples and oranges. But if you want to compare, like, probably another way to phrase the question would be like, if you had the draft, you're up in the draft, you don't have any bigs yet, you got your guards. And which big would you pick next? I'm going with Jokic because he's the most skilled center.
Imagine
he's not that bad defensively. You just got to add some people around.
Imagine you give Jokic, David Robinson, Ginobili, and Tony Parker. Oh my God!
You're right. You know what? Based off of that, you won me over. I agree with you. I'm taking Jokic, and I think Jokic is the better player.
All right, so the Knicks are winning the championship this year. That's who you got.
I got to, man. I have to keep the faith because last year.
Wait. I got to ask you a question. What if you had to bet all your money on it. All your money.
Well, I'll make money next month too. So, but
Okay,
yeah,
I like that answer. I like that answer. Okay, I like that answer.
Yeah.
So the Knicks.
Yeah, I'll go with the Knicks. Only, I mean, just to keep it honest, last year I didn't have the Knicks because I just felt like the Knicks couldn't beat the Celtics. Like before that round started, I had the Knicks losing, and most people did. I felt that if they did get out the East, they probably can only beat the Nuggets. And I felt that they would have got beaten by the OKC Thunder and maybe the Lakers, even though I think the Lakers were to make it. So this year, though, I feel like we could beat anybody in front of us currently in the pool right now in the 7-game series. Give us a chance. And if we have a chance, I'm going with the Knicks. And honestly, they got the experience, they got the losses, the heartbreaks, that helps. All that helps. And so the only team that I feel like we're not favored to win or have a chance is OKC. And even then, as you saw last year with the Pacers, like in the playoff game series, as finals, I went to 7, and they probably could have won that game. So you just never know.
Yeah. You are Dr. X, so I have to ask you, have you seen anything like the Jason Tatum comeback with the Achilles injury? This good, this early?
No, never. And I think he was promoting a drug called Vertex, which is an anti-inflammatory drug that helped with the healing process. And he had the surgery literally right away, and he started with that new pain medication, anti-inflammatory. So I don't know all the data on that drug, but I think I don't think it's it's obviously not illegal, but I want to see who else has been using it, see more studies. You need more examples that have power to your study or validity to your study. So that's what we'd have to see. But yeah, that's literally the first time I've seen someone come back that quick. And there was examples of people that kind of toured around the same time, and Damian Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, and none of those guys are on the same timeline as terms of coming back.
Halliburton with the shingles. To be honest, I don't know what I don't know what that is, Dr. X. So inform me.
I'll explain to you. So shingles, and if I lead with this, people will probably be annoyed by that. But it is in the herpes family, but it's not herpes. It's technically chickenpox. So it's chickenpox. Everybody that's had chickenpox is chickenpox hiding. Everybody that's had chickenpox, you have chickenpox still. It's hiding in the nerve roots. It's laying dormant to come out when your immune system gets weaker as you get older, or just randomly it can come out at any point. So right now they're even, telling people that you should get the zoster, herpes zoster, which means the chickenpox, the shingles vaccine. They call it shingles vaccine because it's kind of just boosting your immune system with the killed version of the virus so that you build up antibodies just in case it tries to rear its ugly head again. So it lays dormant in the nerve roots. So when it does come out, it gives you a rash, just like you would get with chickenpox. But chickenpox, when you first got the first time, it was diffusely throughout your whole body. But in shingles, it just picks a dermatome, which is literally like the nerve root that it was hiding out in. And sometimes you'll see it on the face. Sometimes you'll see it on your in a dermatome just randomly in your abdomen or wherever. You can get shingles anywhere. So wherever it's hiding out, that's where it will come out. And it'll just be, if this nerve travels from here to here, then you'll see literally bumps from here to here. And anti-inflammatories.
Doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun at all. And it's very painful. Some people actually are suicidal on it, older folk. And usually it was just like associated with older folk getting it, like people in their 70s, 80s, 60s. But now it's like you got to kind of like be proactive. So just get the shingles vaccine if your doctor recommends it.
So you like the Sixers over the Celtics. Last thing before we get out of here. When could Joel get back, from your humble opinion?
Well, it really depends on which appendectomy, which type of appendectomy he's had. So they have open and they have laparoscopic. So laparoscopic means they put the needles in and they kind of blow up your abdomen so the doctor can see under cameras, and they just snip it and they suture it and they ligate any bleeding and things like that, right? Open means they literally cut your abdomen open and then they go in and do the same exact thing. Cutting your abdomen open means you have to get through all these abdominal muscles and things like that, and the fascia. And so that takes longer to heal. That's 4 to 6 weeks. It's an open. If it's laparoscopic, they just put the needles kind of like if they go into your knee and they kind of just blow up, do a cleanup job. It's the same thing with the laparoscopic surgery for appendectomy. This is blowing it up and then you're just going in. It's very minimally invasive. And so that takes a week. It takes a week, laparoscopic. So 1 to 3 weeks is the window for laparoscopic surgery. But we're not, you're talking about like a patient going back to work versus a patient, playing an NBA game and getting bumped and getting elbowed and, just dealing with that type of rigor. So I would say Joel Embiid, it's already been a week, right? So you tack on another week with this playing tournament because this team bought him some time. So now he technically could come back in, I would say, 2 weeks, maybe a week to 2 weeks.
And
so
you still,
if they
and you
drag
still
it
have
out
the,
enough,
and you still have the Sixers. Crazy.
only off the strength of Andre Drummond. And I know it's a hot take, and I usually am not that guy, but I'm into matchups. And when I honestly look at the matchups, and I'm like, okay, Jason Tatum is back, but is he better than current Paul George coming off an injury?
No, he's not. But he could get there.
Okay.
He could get there eventually.
Yeah. But let's have some fun with this. Probably cut this up because this might be a hot take. So you have Tatum, Paul George, right? Okay, great. So they cancel out each other, right? Maxey and Jaylen Brown cancel out each other, right?
What?
Now you're done.
Now that's a ridiculous take. That's the most.
You think so? You don't. So who's stopping Maxey? Who's Dean Maxey? Who's stopping him?
Jaylen Brown is the MVP.
So you think he's gonna defend Maxey the whole series?
I mean, he's a way
and actually
Maxey.
come back.
Brown. No, I get that. But Brown has been guarding the other team's best player throughout the entire.
Okay, let's see him guard Maxey. Let's see him guard Maxey for a 7-game series.
Nobody can guard.
But guess what? Maxey's not guarding Brown. Who's guarding Brown? Kelly Oubre, Jason, Paul George, Quentin Grimes. There's another guy.
You ever seen Jaylen Brown on a stream? I don't think he's really worried about anybody. He's the best two-way human in the world, he said. I don't think he's worried.
I agree. But look for Paul George with a chip on his shoulder to take some pride in defending Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Okay. So with that said, I'm just like with the bigs, like what's the guy's name on the center position? I mean, I know they have
Keita for the Celtics.
Yeah. Keita, so you have Keita and Vucevic. I just feel like Drummond will cancel out Keita. I think he will. He's gonna have more rebounds. He's probably gonna hit a 3 or 2. And then you have VJ Edgecombe has nothing to lose. These guys have nothing to lose. I know it's a hot take, but I'm just saying this is not the same Celtic team. So you're hoping that Shireman shows up. You're hoping that Pritchard has a Pritchard game every game, but literally during regular season, every other game he has a great game. Not every game, every other game. And so I just feel like it's not going to be. It's not going to be. They have nothing to lose, and I feel the pressure is on the Celtics actually. So they better not lose game 1 or game 2.
If this comes true, you could come back to the episode because I love doing this. I love going back and just showing people how right I am, Dr. X. So if the Sixers beat the Celtics, we can come back on and clip it up and
let's do it.
Yeah. But Dr.
So
X,
wait. Who do you have? Who do you have?
The Celtics are going. The Celtics are going to
sweep.
The Celtics are going to win the title.
You have the Celtics winning the title.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
But you had the Celtics sweeping the 76ers?
I'd say 5.
How many games?
Five. Yes, Celtics are 5. Yeah, because I respect those guys. I mean, those guys are pros over there, But yeah.
You think the Celtics going to be OKC?
Yeah. Look, if we look at the history of what has been happening, we haven't seen a repeat in a while, Hey, but if OKC does, if OKC does win, you got to have different conversations about SGA, different conversations about Chet, different conversations about Jaylen. I mean, SGA is, man, where does he rank if he wins this year? I mean, crazy.
Oh, he's definitely going to top 10, and someone has to get booted.
Yeah, it's fair. And then Chet, 2 championship as like third guy, maybe Robin. It's like at his age, it's kind of crazy, No,
it's great. It'd be a great story.
Yeah.
I won't be mad at it. If OKC wins, I won't be mad at it.
Yeah. You'll be mad if the Pistons win.
Of course. I think I'm the number 1 hater.
Dr. X, thanks for taking the time. Where can we find you? Where can we find the network?
Yes, Dr. X Primetime is my personal social on IG, and X-Rated Sports on Instagram, as well as X-Rated Sports on YouTube. And all the other socials will lead you to the other socials.
Thanks for taking the time. You're always welcome back on the show. Hold on for 1 second so this could upload, and talk soon.
Yep.